Let's talk a little bit about accommodation.
Sure.
So, because it would be a primary concern for students abroad who'll be traveling to
Yes.
the United States. Is accommodation provided by COPE or?
So we do make arrangements for accommodations if we know the size of the party traveling. Then what we do is we try to secure that housing and have it close to the facility or the hospital that they would be going to, so that transportation then doesn't become the issue. So we do work really closely to make sure that the accommodations are nice accommodations, safe accommodations, and that transportation doesn't become a barrier as well.
Wow. Is it okay to name some hospitals that you work with, or?
So I can say this, that in Southern California, we are in almost every large system.
Okay.
We have very large system partners in Southern California, and those partners are represented in Washington and in other states. So some of the largest providers of care are our partners.
Okay, thank you. And I want to. I think a lot of students are asking the same question. I believe for a nurse to be hired in the United States, they have to take a nursing exam.
NCLEX, yes.
NCLEX. So is that part of the hiring process, or is it something that COPE assists students with as well in the program?
So we haven't pursued that yet. I'm sure we have a partnership right now with the Princeton Review, and they do a lot of review courses. So we are helping students prepare for med school with the MCAT or prepare for graduate school with the GRE. I am sure we can partner with them to facilitate NCLEX classes if that's something that would be interesting to your students. Or your nurses to transition over. Right. I think what the other thing that might be important is just to figure out, what is the gap between their current level of licensure and that what's just needed in the United States. So that would be the area of focus for us, just to make sure that they're able to sit for the NCLEX.
Okay.
That would be really important, and we'd love to work on that with you.
On figuring it out. So there are different, there's a 3-month, 15-month. Could you tell us about the differences? Say, for example, a student would only want to have a training for 3 weeks.
So we would take a group through a 3-week program, and we could customize UCLA lectures with, really focused time in a clinical setting. So instead of having 1 4-hour shift in that 3-week period, they could go every day for a certain time period. And that's the customization that we put in our international programs, because we really want to make sure that at the end of that program, we've reached the objective. And so really sitting down and saying, what are you hoping to get out of this? Is it to fill the gap that you need to sit for the NCLEX? Is it to just get clinical exposure? What is it that you're seeking, so that we can design the correct program for them? I think within 3 weeks, you could definitely get a fair amount of exposure to the clinical setting. And then there might be an ability to see 1 or 2 departments within that 3-week period. We need to, assess their language capacity and all of those other things. But the exposure to just U.S. healthcare and just noting the differences, I think is a wonderful opportunity for anyone.
Since we are Edu International, I just want to know your view about international education. Do you believe, or what is your take on students traveling abroad? Because as I've seen over the years, it has really impacted students in a way of transformation and personal growth.
You can ask me that.
Yeah, and it just amazes me every time. So as I am doing my master's myself in the United States, I'm learning about, racial reconciliation, and it's just wonderful.
It's very enlightening.
Yes, and in your opinion, how important is it for
Sure.
for international students to go and experience the world, experiential learning,
Yes.
Study abroad programs? Why do you
Yes.
think they should do it?
Okay. You're asking me now?
Yes. That's actually my question. Like, how important is it for students, in your opinion, to experience study abroad programs in the United States?
I think it's critically important. We serve diverse populations of individuals, from gender to ethnicity to culture to everything. And I think to have a singular view of the world is not going to equip any healthcare provider well. As a nurse, I'm a nurse, and just going through nursing school at that period of my life with individuals who had never been out of their city was really enlightening when you are caring for someone who has a certain religion or certain ethnicity, and to truly understand why they might want things a certain way, or why they want a certain care provider, so a female instead of a male, just really helps you take care of them better. And so I think it's critical as we, grow as a country and just try to relate to each other as people, that it's important for anyone interested in healthcare, particularly, to get a worldview.
Right.
To really understand, what's different about healthcare in the U.S. versus healthcare in China versus healthcare in the Middle East versus healthcare in Canada.
Right.
And it really helps you understand why your patient may come and present with preconceived notions about you, or about the care they're receiving, or the care they're not receiving. And so I think it equips you to be a better listener and a better care provider. So I'm for it. Just as a nurse, and just as someone who experiences the world every day, I think just understanding perspective is very important.
Wow, that is an amazing answer. And I think also that's really good for students who are in their college degree level,
Yes.
and wants to do their thesis.
Yes.
That's like something that they can look at. Like you talked about the differences of the United States or the Philippines, for
Yes.
example. And how about internships? Do you have interns? Are you receiving internships in COPE?
We do. We have interns. We hire our interns, so we're always looking for talent that's interested in healthcare and transforming care delivery and really being responsive to what's going on in the world. The firm operates on a mission that healthcare is for everyone, regardless of payer. So we try to live that every day as well.
Wow. So, just to clarify, there is a nursing shortage in the United States right now?
There will be very soon. If there isn't one right now. I think, with all the opportunities in healthcare and in all the different care settings, the inpatient setting, is shifting what's happening. Patients are more acute than they were when I practiced nursing, because those less acute or subacute patients are now going to different settings. They're going home, they're going to PACE, they're going to nursing homes or nursing facilities, and so they're going to rehab facilities. They're not in an inpatient setting anymore, and so the opportunities for nurses have broadened. You don't just have to be a hospital nurse anymore. You could work a 7 to 7 and work in a clinic. And so when you think about that shift, or you could do policy, or you could take your hands out of the clinical setting and do something more administrative. As nurses get older, then they may not want to stay in that setting anymore. And so that really becomes another reason why we see less nurses at the bedside. And so the shortage has transitioned from I need nurses at the bedside, to I need experienced case managers who are nurses, or I need an experienced clinic nurse, or I need an experienced nurse that's an administrator. So the world is really opened up as care delivery is transformed.
Wow.
It's an exciting time to be a nurse. I started at the VA, and the VA is a wonderful place to really get exposed to everything going on in healthcare. And
What VA?
the Veterans Administration.
Right. I'm sorry.
Yes. and there are so many different, not only hospitals, but just healthcare organizations that hire nurses. And so, you could work for a care management organization as a nurse that does telephonic outreach. So the world is really opened up because care delivery settings have changed. Your nurses could think about, what other ways can I be a nurse here?
Right.
And the language opportunity is phenomenal, because a lot of our partners are looking for students that speak certain languages. And so we sometimes are very intentional with our recruiting to make sure that the students are representative of the population that is at that facility.
That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that in hospitals. They have translators too.
Yes. Yes, and so we really are intentional, because they want to hire someone that, looks like and understands the population that is in the facility, and those a lot of times are our scholars.
Oh, and it's interesting because I know there's a huge population of Filipinos in California.
Yes, there is.
I think that's the biggest in the United States. I think this is meant to be.
Yes, I think so too.
Thank you so much, Dawn, for coming here and really talking to me about all this, because I love to learn about COPE. I'm sure that a lot of Filipino students will be excited for this, and not just Filipinos, but as well as students that we can reach out to who wants to have that experience in the United States. As you said, it's very diverse. It's just amazing. It's amazing to learn all about this. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining Edu International. This is your host, Marley Freina. Thank you.